at Farnborough International Air Show, there's a real focus on the future of aviation, as it kind of always is. But one company that have got a focus really on the future and what the aviation industry is going to look like is MTU Aero Engines. And to tell us all about their offering, I've got their COO, Lars Wagner, here. Lars, great to see you here at Farnborough International Air Show. It's great to be back, first of all, isn't it?
Yes, after 4 years, it's been a pleasure to come to London and Farnborough again. Yeah, good to be here.
Absolutely. Now, we've been talking about the future of aviation. That really has been a buzzword in this industry for quite some time. But MTU have got your feet firmly in the current camp, but also a focus, as I was saying, on the future.
True. It's probably one of the overarching topics here at this air show and in the previous air show that we've seen in Berlin, for example. We are very well positioned in the current market, but we also look, in our industry, we do look 15, 20 years ahead of us. And we have brought today our motto, visions driven by visions of tomorrow. So we have brought a couple of solutions for these questions. And we see a threefold basically. One is we build up on the current GTF to make it even better. So we call it evolutionary development of the GTF. Then we think about revolutionary possibilities, and we see a wet engine, water-enhanced turbofan engines in the back. And then the third one is electric flying, which we believe will be with a flying fuel cell. And all of this is surrounded by sustainable aviation fuels, which is like the fourth element of our vision.
Quite a lot of, when we think about the future, we do think about the fuel source, whether it's going to be a synthetic fuel source, but you are looking elsewhere as well, because it's not just about the fuel cell that you're using, it's the manner in which you're using it.
The fuel cell, obviously, first of all, hydrogen is necessary for whether you need sustainable aviation fuels, or you want to have a fuel cell, or you want to burn it directly, which is also possible in our wet engine. Yeah? So I think every gas turbine needs to be ready for burning hydrogen itself. So the primary question is, where do we get the hydrogen from? And then on the fuel cell, we call it zero emission, because really when you use the hydrogen with the oxygen, with the air to produce electricity, then you really have zero emission, and that's the key point in the fuel cell.
So let's talk about what you are showing here. You've got CLAIR, the clean air engine. So talk about CLAIR first of all.
Well, CLAIR is our clean air engine, let's say, vision, where we have tried to encompass all the solutions I just described in one paper. Given all the reduction in emission, for us it's really important that we do not only see the CO2, the decarbonization effect, but we also need to look into NOx and we look into the contrails. So all three elements are actually driving the climate change, and our wet engine is a solution because it's addressing all three emissions.
So when it comes to keeping an eye on the future and working for the future, it's so important as a business, isn't it? Because otherwise you won't have a business if you don't evolve and develop.
That's true. The pressure is on. The pressure is big from us, from our shareholders, but also from politicians, and I would believe from the global society, because we need to work against the climate warming, and air traffic is one contributor for the CO2 in the atmosphere. So you need to do something against it, and that's why we think we are sustainable and we want to grow our business with these alternative technologies.
It's great to see how focused companies are with the future as well, but how far away do you think we are from this emission-free air travel?
It's a good question. I think the first bridging technology is going to be the synthetic fuels. So these are available. We just need to have a scale up. So every engine flying out there can be fueled with this synthetic fuel, if we would have enough capacity already. That's the bridging technology that is short term, and I personally believe for a wide body, for a long range kind of flight, it will be always the first choice. And then we need to think about the next generation geared turbofan or the fuel cell. I believe, with this fuel cell, we want to have a first 20-seater in the air by the mid of this decade. So a technology demonstrator, and once this is demonstrated, you can scale it up, and by the end of this decade, maybe a 20 to 30-seater. In the middle of next decade, 50 to 70-seater might be feasible. That's what we think is feasible. And for the gas turbine geared turbofan, we need to wait for the big next launch of either both Airbus or Boeing to be under the wing of these aircraft.
So it sounds like the future is within reach of us. But what do you think we're going to look like when it comes to commercial engine design by the end of this current decade? What are the engines going to be looking like, or how they're going to be working compared to now?
See, I said we are in a long forward-looking industry. By the end of this decade, this is like tomorrow. all the engines are developed, and the evolutionary development is done currently for the end of this decade. So you don't really see a revolutionary change by the end of this decade in the gas turbine. When we fly fuel cell, that might look totally different. You have a turboprop, so a propeller, most likely distributed propulsion, so you can see propellers all over the aircraft at the wing mainly, but you can distribute it differently than the gas turbine underneath the wing. So that might look revolutionary a bit. And then in the middle of next decade, when we have the wet engine or other technologies, they also look a bit different. I'd say a bit different, not revolutionary, but the technology inside is really revolutionary.
Well, my final question really for you is about maybe how you invest in your workforce as well, looking at younger people coming into the industry as well. The focus on the future has to include the young of today. So how do you go about recruitment?
Well, it's a big topic for the next generation. I actually do receive a lot of applications because they want to work on the future of flight. They're interested in aviation. They're interested in saving the world. So that makes it a very good fit for us. But you also have to have an eye on the older generation, on the current workforce that need to be totally and convinced about the new technologies, because they've been raised with a gas turbine, and now we want to accompany them into the next future. But I think it's a very good setup right now, because the world is focusing on that topic, and MTU has a very good answer for this technology, for this question, and I think this is a game changer for recruitment as well.
It's great to see you guys embracing the change. Lars, thank you very much for chatting to us.
You're welcome. Thank you very much.